when you go back to page 24, I think it was, where all the cases are depicted, this is the one. So I will call this at the top, all onlys given. That's all I've got so far, okay? I'm going to work on a better title at some point. So at a school, you've got 750 students that were surveyed, 470 used transit, let's call that T, 340 cycle. It's not always going to be like in this exact format, but quite often it's in bullet form. 280 students walk, we're going to call that set W. And here it is. 100 students only cycle and use transit. 80 students only walk and use transit. 30 students only walk and cycle. I just want you to quickly, this is not our work here yet, but basically what they just gave you is this. Okay? This question is giving you the onlys, like the but not. That's another one, the onlys or the but nots, right? These three are given to you, and it will make it a little trickier, okay? All students use at least one form of transportation. What does this statement confirm? No outliers, yes. So you don't need to worry about outliers if a question has that statement, okay? Is the middle given? It's not, so that's X, right? So at the center, we're going to call that our unknown. And so now we can proceed and actually solve. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can have the question and fill in our Venn diagram. How many students take all three? Use a proper formula. Why does it ask you to do the Venn diagram after you've solved? Doesn't make sense. I would just always start with a Venn diagram. So here we go. There, you know what? I like to know my odds of things. The odd that you get one of these very tricky ones, the odds are very low. You know which one you will see the most is the one I gave you today for the AC, where the middle is given, you just have to put in the numbers and you just have to like subtract or add, and then you just fill it in, right? Something like this is rare, but and I will still test you on it because you need to be prepared just in case. Okay, so the middle is unknown, so I'm going to put in the 470 and the 340 and the 280. I'll put a box around before I forget. They tell you think outside the box, and here we are putting boxes around the thinking part, right? Anyways, 100, so let's make sure we put them in the right place. Cycle and transit. So it's cycle and transit only, so the 100 goes here. 80 walk and use transit, so the 80 goes in here. 34 walk and cycle. Only walk and cycle, okay? Boom. So you're effectively stuck, right? So you can't do much. Pi, so you want to use pi, that formula. Pi requires all three intersections, correct? You know that, right? So that means that this intersection here, I will have to use 100 plus x. This intersection, I will have to call it 34 plus x. This intersection will be 80 plus x. Should not be surprised by this because we've done, some of this has already shown up, except for the cases you've been dealing with is that some of the ands were given, like where they give you the whole intersection already as a number, just one singular number. Every single intersection here is given in terms of x. That's why this is a little different. So let's use pi, okay? I'm going to do that here. Pi calls for n of t union c union w. We're going to add t, we're going to add c, we're going to add w. We're going to subtract the intersections, T and C. Just go around your Venn diagram if you're not sure. Which one should I start with? Well, I'm going to go T and C, then C and W, then it's WT. And last but not least, I need to add the middle. So I'm just going to call this plus x. But the middle is the intersection of all. So the and, it's T and C and W. Okay. Okay, let's get started. Remember, the union is universal minus outliers if there are any. But there are no outliers. So I'm going to go 750 minus 0. Just to get into the habit of thinking, I need to subtract something. Then I'm just going to add 470, 340, 280. So it's all the sets. And I know I'm double counting as is, because the overlap, they all have an overlap. Minus. Where do you want to start? I'm going to start at the top here. Minus, make sure you use brackets, 100 plus x, minus 34 plus x, minus 80 plus x, and then plus x. Every single bracket, if you look carefully, has a negative in front, right? You have to distribute that. It's like a -1, right? So we're going to distribute that negative, distribute that negative. The most common mistake is that students don't distribute it to the second term in that bracket. Let's clean it up already. We can clean up significantly. We can go 750. Let's add up these three numbers already. As I said, my key is, I know that it works out, so for now I'm going to just say, this is 1,090. And then I'm going to go -100 minus x, because the negative distributes to both of these terms. Minus 34 minus x. Then it's -80 minus x, and then plus x, because that plus x is trailing, correct? When there's a negative x and a plus x, what do we do with those? They cancel out, yeah. So that's the neat part about this type, is you're going to just, they're gone. That's always going to be the case with this type. You already saw this before, right? I'm sure you've seen it in the, I forget now the video, what was in there exactly, but guess what? All these numbers, I'm going to combine them. I'm going to combine all the numbers, and I'm going to combine all the x's, all the like terms. So 750, I'm going to go 1,090 minus 100 minus 34 minus 80. Gives me 876 on this side, minus 2x. I'm going to subtract 876 from both sides. Cancel that out. Leaves me with negative 2x. This leaves me with negative 126. What do we do now? divide by -2, right? X is equal to 63. And notice, negative divided by negative turns into positive, right? If you notice that signs are kind of, they're not adding up, you're getting a negative or you're getting a decimal, you got to go back. You probably made a mistake upstream somewhere. But this is our answer, right? 63 are going to use all three formats, okay? 63 students use all three. Use all three. All right. So in a sense, I understand why it says Venn diagram as your second step, because once you've done this, now you can go back and actually fill in your Venn diagram. Okay, let's go back. Are you, sorry, maybe you weren't done yet. So we go 63 here. This is 63. And now we can figure out this part, right? 470, if you subtract all of these numbers, you get 227. 340, if you subtract these three numbers from 340, you get 143. If you subtract these three numbers from 280, you get 103. Your ultimate check would be, if you add up all these sections, you should get 750, right? Because we know there are no outliers, so we don't have to worry about it. So that's that. Okay. So what I will say is basically, let me just pause this here to, or how about, yeah, back to 24, or how about 23? I will just say page 25 all the way to 46 is related to Venn diagrams. And I mean, like everything in between. There's one page or two that deals with design and measurement, like volume, surface area. You don't have to worry about that one. That's a lot of pages, Mr. Dirksen. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to do all of them. Do you remember, I don't know if you read this, but I posted the pages to try on Google Classroom. I don't know if you read that. Okay, so I will tell you what I mean by that. If you want to do questions like page 25 where the middle is given, these are all the page numbers you can do. If you go by whatever I did on page 28, you can do pages 33 to 34. The example on page 29, you go from 43 to 46, okay? And that's that.